Hi there. Welcome to part 2 of a 3-part vlog series all about how I made the short film EPOCH by myself earlier this summer. There's a link to part 1 in the description below if you haven't seen that yet. And there's also a link to EPOCH down in the description below if you haven't seen that yet. And I thoroughly recommend checking it out because it's a short film, I made it, and I would love for you to see it. But before we get properly started, I want to give a huge shout out to Pro Sound Effects. I was amazingly lucky enough to win their prize draw, taking home $5,000 worth of prizes from Pro Sound Effects themselves and partners including Film Supply, Music Bed, and Action VFX. I've been flat out editing for the last month, so this is my first opportunity to say thank you properly to Jamie and the team at Pro Sound Effects. This is a real life-changing prize and I cannot wait to get stuck in. Pro Sound Effects have got a blog on their site and a channel here, both of which are linked down below. Whether you need sound effects or want to find out tips and tricks that the pros use, then please do check them out. They are good people and I love them very, very much. Thank you. Now, let's get back to talking about making a short film, shall we? When shooting by yourself, scene setups take twice as long. First of all, there's setting up the camera and making sure that you're happy with the composition. Then there's putting yourself into the shot and making sure that things still work, making any adjustments that you need to make. As I was shooting everything at golden hour and blue hour, timing was critical, and this was where having a simple setup of just one camera and one tripod was absolutely essential. This is also where having a flip screen, such as the one on the Canon M50, comes into its own. EPOCH was the first film that I shot on my new M50, but I spent quite a bit of time beforehand getting to grips with it. By this I mean shooting test footage, testing the different focal lengths, and familiarising myself with the buttons and settings. The Canon M50 Best Video Settings series by Tech Gear Talk helped me massively to get my M50 up and running out of the box. If you find yourself getting an M50 as well, then I thoroughly recommend this video series as a way to get your camera working properly for filming. There'll be links down in the description below. I know it's not the right way to do it, but I kept the camera on autofocus for the duration of the shoot. This was partly because I wanted to avoid any blurry takes, but also because it was my first time using the feature and I really wanted to give it a go and see how it worked and how I worked with it. As always, I shot with my trusty Rode video mic mounted to the top of the camera. I didn't actually use any diegetic audio for this film, apart from maybe a couple of footsteps. But even so, recording the audio as I was doing the filming was really important for using a reference track that I could use to build the Foley on top of in the edit. Now, whenever I shoot a film, I always get a real rush, but shooting in my kind of immediate neighbourhood whilst wearing a silly costume and just walking around in front of the camera all by myself kind of tripled that adrenaline. Because of this, I deliberately got simple travelling shots first, most of which didn't even make it into the final edit. But it was a really good way for me to kind of shake the nerves off and ease into the character. Of course, it's debatable how successfully I did that, but I tried, and I put myself firmly in the shoes of the actors that I work with. I'm not going to pretend that this was some kind of revelatory experience, because I have no idea if the notes and directions that I was given to myself would work if I was delivering them to someone else. But I do know the kind of techniques I picked up that worked for me, and I'm going to keep that in mind for when I next work with actors in future. So, just finished the second night shoot. Basically went out to a location that I've been pretty excited about using, and got the rest of the shots I need to tell the story. Weather tonight, when I first got out, just at the start of golden hour, it was less cloudy and the light was a much clearer match for the footage that I got a couple of nights ago. Since then, and since getting over to this location in particular, it's clouded over a lot more. So it's given it a murkier, kind of grungier quality to the footage. That said, I didn't have to crank the ISO too high, so hopefully it's not too grainy. I'm just looking forward to getting it all into the edit suite and seeing how it all goes together. The last sequence I got was the part where Scout approaches the electric fence. I searched all around the local area to find a suitable location for this, but really struggled, and in the end had to settle for the location that you see in the finished film. After replacing a visible water company logo with a faded Ministry of Defence sign in post, it just about carried off a dystopian look that I was going for. But I would have preferred to shoot somewhere more imposing. Even so, with that in the can, I was happy to call filming on EPOCH finished. That's it for this video. If you enjoyed it or found it useful, then please hit that like button, that will help more people to see it. And likewise, if you like short films and making of content, then please consider subscribing as well. But otherwise, that's it from me today. I'll see you next time where we talk about how EPOCH was really made, and that's in the edit.